I didn't have credit history, right? Because you are immigrant and you don't have a credit history and you do not have experiences. I knew how to handle businesses in Japan and culturally and legally. I had experience, but here I had nothing. So to start restaurant business, I found a good location and I applied for it. But the landlord told me, can you provide credit score and can you give me bank statement? But I didn't have it because I didn't have bank account even, but I didn't have last 3 years, income. So I couldn't get a location. I couldn't get a loan from bank.
Welcome to Founders Without Borders. If you've ever walked past the financial district in San Francisco, you've probably heard of Onigilly. Joining us today for episode 3 of season 3 is Koji Kanematsu, the founder and CEO of Onigilly Japanese Kitchen. Since founding the company in 2008, he has led its mission to introduce healthy, authentic Japanese rice balls to American audiences. Onigilly currently operates in 7 locations across the Bay Area and continues to expand with Koji's vision of bringing Onigiri to communities across the United States. I'm so excited for you to listen to Koji's story from how he started in Japan to now building Onigiri. Welcome to Founders Without Borders, Koji. It is very exciting to have you on the show.
Hi, Harshita. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Very excited to get to know you and the story behind your company that you're building. For anyone who is not familiar with Koji, can you share a little bit more about who you are and Onigiri in general?
Yeah, so my name is Koji. I grew up in Japan. I was born and raised in Japan until late 20s, and then I moved to the US in 2006. I'm a founder of Onigiri, which we serve onigiri. It's a Japanese rice ball as a main product. So onigiri, it's in Japan, it's a very, high volume market because onigiri has over 2000 years of history in Japan, and then you can see everywhere. So my passion is to introduce onigiri to the United States because a lot of people are looking for something healthy, handy, and affordable quick food, fast food. When I first came to the States, I couldn't find onigiri, so that's why now I'm doing onigiri, Japanese kitchen. That's our concept, and our goal is to become nationwide concept.
That's awesome. For anyone who may not be familiar with onigiri, can you share a little bit more about how the food is prepared?
Yeah, so you can imagine like Subway sandwiches. So when you go to the store and then place an order and you get fresh sandwiches. That's how we operate our location. We have 6 locations in San Francisco Bay Area, and we are opening up 7th location. And we also have a few franchisee opening onigiri in Southern California. So next year, we're gonna be more locations. Our concept is a little different from Japanese style traditional onigiri. So in Japan, you will see a lot of onigiri with packaged food. So the seaweed wrap and divided by plastic film. So you get crisp nori anytime. But that is for more wholesale. Usually there's a food manufacturer and then they make onigiri. It's a large scale. So, and they automated the production. And then you go to convenience store or grocery store or train station and you can grab and go packaged onigiri. That's the main business in Japan. So originally I wanted to do the same way. However, there's a different regulation in Japan and the United States. So
Mm.
we had to, think about how to serve onigiri fresh because you cannot keep in cold to follow the regulation food safety in the States.
Mm.
You have to keep it cold. And then onigiri is mainly made from rice, so it gets soggy. In Japan, it's a different temperature control method. So we decided to start like Subway sandwiches. So you come to the store, make fresh, and then we decided to expand franchising rather than wholesale. And about onigiri, it's made from rice, seaweed, and something Phoenix. So typically in Japan, it's tuna mayo or salmon and even plum, pickled plum, traditional way. Our onigiri is a little unique. We basically make two patties, triangle patties. We have chicken teriyaki onigiri. We have raw salmon poke onigiri. And and we put more fillings than traditional one because we found that at the beginning I served more traditional style onigiri, but American people didn't like it because you don't have that much fillings and you have to eat mainly rice. It was a little difficult because of the cultural difference. Japanese people enjoy rice and the side dishes, fish or vegetables. We enjoy white rice as a main and then eat side dishes like, salad and fish. But the main is salmon or steak and the rice is a side. So
Mm-hmm.
we found that after serving traditional style onigiri, we couldn't sell well. So we tried a different ratio and different ingredients and found that our current style, sandwich style, you can see fillings from outside because it's basically sandwiches, not the traditional rice ball, put the fillings inside of the rice. So now we serve sandwich style and our customers and are happy to see what's inside and it's more flavorful. And also we use Haiga rice. It's instead of white rice.
Mm.
Haiga rice is somewhere between brown rice and white rice. It's a perfect combination. You can get nutritions, a lot of fibers, but you can get flavor from white rice. So it's somewhere between.
That's awesome. My mouth is watering because I haven't had lunch yet. And now all this conversation about food is very, very exciting. I have so many questions just around the whole process. And you mentioned a really good point where it's a very traditional method of preparation. And it's very nice to see how you kind of meandered and found a way to try and test until you found something that the American market would really like and adopt. And I think that just kind of goes to show how open to adapting to different things you
Uh-huh,
have to be as a founder.
uh-huh.
Is your background in food tech or in the restaurant business, Koji?
So when I was in college for 5 years, I worked for part-time restaurant worker. And so I had a basic knowledge how to run restaurant. But my main job after graduating college, I was in startup tech side. And also I had a client, it's Japanese convenience store. So I learned supply chain. I learned, how food production at the bigger scale works. So that inspired me. So I learned a lot, yeah, from them. Yeah.
Yeah, I am curious. I know you mentioned that you've worked part time and then obviously you had clients. How did you find your way to the US when you were in Japan?
Yeah, so one of our client at the time was a video gaming company. We built a system for them for online shopping. So at that time, they so great opportunity to sell video game software and goods, merchandise goods like a necklace and clothes, t-shirt, because, the graphic became much better than before. So a lot of people buy, accessories that the video game character wears. So it was very popular in Japan, and then our client saw the potential in the US market. So I came to the US, and then tried to find a partner who can develop a system. And yeah, that was the original story. So I came here and then for the researching project. And after that, I was a project manager to develop their business, especially tech side system. And then we hired local developers. And then I, you know, was really impressed how diverse the culture is because when I was in Japan, 100% Japanese, same, you know, people, same culture, but here is totally different, right? The startup cultures and diverse, and I really enjoyed. I thought, oh, I have a lot of things to learn. Especially food was very interesting.
Okay.
One day I went to a Japanese restaurant and then I got a set menu and I
Huh.
got soy sauce flavored rice, not white rice. That was weird. That was, very interesting experience because I had to eat a little salty teriyaki chicken with salty rice. But that inspired me. And then I could develop the American flavored onigiri. Yeah.
I guess growing up in Japan, did you ever think that you would start a business of your own?
Yeah. In Japan, actually, I was a co-founder of a company. During my college years, I had a part-time restaurant job, and daytime, I had a part-time office job in a startup. So I learned a lot from the job I first um, get. And so after graduation, I kept the same job. Then few years later, I joined a new company as a co-founder. So because my boss at the time decided to start his own, so I wanted to join him as a co-founder. So yeah, that was a really good experiences. And also I found entrepreneur in Japan and the US. There is a big difference. After you graduate college in the US, if you are attend Stanford example, a lot of graduates started company or, become small business owner and then scale. In Japan, if you graduate from, good school, you tend to go to a big company
Mm.
like Toyota or, NTT. So, but if you start small companies or if you are entrepreneur in Japan, it's very tough. It's
Mm.
possible, but the culturally big company is the winner and the small company is loser. That type of, culture I felt when I started. But here in the US, if you start your company, a lot of people, encourage you and help you to be succeed. Oh, you started the business. Oh, that's great. I'll help you. I, joined La Cocina in San Francisco. They are food incubation NPO organization. So I know there are a lot of tech incubation, and also there's a food incubation. I was very surprised in how, much support did I get. There are many NPOs, organizations to help small businesses, and you get a support as much as you need. And then now we grew because of their help. But in Japan, I couldn't get that much support. Of course, we got support from government organization, but nothing like here in the US.
Yeah, that is one of my absolute favorite things about the US in general, but also in SF and the Bay Area in general. People
Yeah,
are
yeah.
very helpful, especially if you say you're starting a company, everyone is like really trying to help you. And I
Mhm,
think that really goes a long way because we know that starting a company is no joke, right? There are so
mhm,
many different challenges, there are so many things that you need to learn on the job. You just cannot
mhm,
have it all figured out. And then as an immigrant, it adds another
mhm,
layer to it where it's like,
mhm,
you have to think about visas. You have to think about,
mhm,
hey, am I even eligible to start a company? What would that
mhm,
even look like? Um, I know you mentioned that La Cocina helped you
mhm,
at least get like your foot in the door and start sort of
mhm,
thinking about this idea. I think even before to La Cocina, or even just when you were thinking about like, okay, I'm gonna quit my job
mhm,
and start really like focusing on this full time.
mhm,
What initial challenges did you run into when you were starting to build
mhm.
Onigilly from the ground up?
So yeah, beginning I mean, I didn't have credit history, right? Because you are immigrant and you don't have a credit history and you do not have experiences. So I knew how to handle businesses in Japan and culturally and legally. I had experience, but here I had nothing. So to start restaurant business, I found a good location and I applied for it. But the landlord told me, can you provide credit score and can you give me bank statement? But I didn't have it because I didn't have bank account even. I had a bank account, but I didn't have 3 years, last 3 years, income. I didn't have it. So I couldn't get a location. I couldn't get a loan from bank. So I asked La Cocina and they introduced me NPO lender. And they lend us fund to start.
Yeah, I think you talk about a very real problem, which is everything in the US runs on credit history, right? Like whether it's buying a
Right.
car, buying
Right.
anything in general. And it is really, really hard to have that as an immigrant when you're just moving here um and just navigating any of those things, right? Like you really need people to believe in you to really
Uh-huh.
like figure out a way to help you with these things. I was talking to someone, maybe a previous guest on the episode, but
Uh-huh.
the whole idea around SSN and jobs. You need an
Uh-huh.
SSN to get a job, but you need a job to get an SSN.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, well, where do I start, right? I think with me, because I came to the US for school, and there was one place on campus when I went to school that would give
Uh-huh.
you a job without an SSN so that you could apply a job. I don't really
Uh-huh.
know how it works outside, but like that's a tough situation to navigate where
Uh-huh.
you're like, well, I do need an SSN so that I can get paid and actually be
Uh-huh.
employed, but I don't know how to navigate these things. So I'm sure you ran into a similar situation where it's like, oh, I'm here, but I don't have a 3 year long, 4 year long credit history to show you
Uh-huh.
for this.
Right.
So that's great. So I know you said 2006 is when you came to the US. When did you start Onigiri?
2008.
Oh, wow. That was when everything crashed, right? At least
Yeah,
in the
yeah, that's right.
yeah. What was starting a business when there was a major financial breakdown in the country? What was that like?
I think I didn't notice because we were at the very beginning. We started. So if we had more established business, I think we were affected, but we had nothing to lose. But yeah, good thing was we started the business in tough time, right? The
Hmm.
bad economy crash. So I think if we were in a bubble or some high economy thing, we probably did some stupid thing. So we started from very small. and we tested little by little. So I think, yeah, that was lucky. So even, if we had a lot of challenges, but we went through that most economically bad period at the beginning. So we can make some adjustment even you face some difficulties during after you establish the business. You know what's gonna happen. Yeah, you see economy is good, the time economy is bad. You know both timing, not the one side.
That's true. Everything was crashing down, but you were just getting started, so there wasn't really like much to think about. If we talk about 2020, which is the pandemic, where
Right.
everyone in the world was affected, right? Especially
Mhm,
any kind of businesses that relied on people coming in person, so restaurants or
mhm.
grocery stores and hospitals
Yeah.
and so many other places in general.
Mhm,
Um, how did you navigate the pandemic? Because that was a tough year, and
mhm.
a tough couple of years for a lot of businesses in general, whether it was tech or non-tech.
Yeah, so actually, I really enjoyed the pandemic. That was the time I was very excited. 2020 April, we planned to open our sixth location in San Jose Shopping Center. And we received investment 19 for expansion. So we planned to uh, start franchising. So in that timing, pandemic happened, and we had five locations at the time, and the four of them are one in Financial District, San Francisco. So all of a sudden, our sales became zero, right? And then, so first I thought, oh, maybe that's gonna be 2 to 3 weeks thing. So after a while, we can get back that normal thing. So, but after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, things didn't change. And then some of the businesses, I have a friend who owns the Japanese restaurant closed, they decided to close the business permanently. And specialty sandwiches shop, I think they had 50 locations at the time. They filed bankrupt. And I asked landlord, hey, we cannot operate. Nobody's here, so can we please close the business? But landlord didn't say yes, or you have to pay the rest of rent during, you have 3 years lease remaining, so you have to pay out, then you can leave. Um, we didn't know how to handle it because nobody went through the pandemic, and I didn't expect, all of a sudden you have to close the restaurant, but you have to pay rent regardless because we signed the lease. La Cocina helped us. So La Cocina gave us opportunity to work with pro bono attorneys so they can, join our team and then represent us to negotiate a lease with landlord. So we could get out from the three leases in San Francisco, and we kept two locations, but we couldn't sell much because nobody are there, and we couldn't do catering anymore. So we rent a space in Oakland and south of San Francisco to start ghost kitchen because onigiri was popular in financial district because we had a location. We had a brick and mortar location, and people come to the store to grab a lunch. But without it, we had to, sell our product online. So DoorDash and Uber Eats, but the onigiri is such a minor category. We decided to rent a ghost kitchen, and we opened uh, four new concept online. So we
Wow.
had a curry, Japanese curry concept. We had a poke concept. We had a Japanese Mexican concept, and we had a sandwich concept. the goal was to survive.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but we needed to survive. And we, had employees we didn't want to lose. So we needed to create a volume. We needed to create a businesses. And then we received money from government to support. So we tried many things. So we, worked with designer to create a logo and create a DoorDash webpage. And we set up the ghost kitchen and we did a lot of marketing. And then around the 2023, we finally opened the first shopping center location in San Jose after 3 years.
Wow.
And the good thing was we went through pandemic, right? And we learned a lot how to sell food online, how to
Hmm.
develop menus. So some of the menu we are serving right now is from pandemic.
Wow. The pandemic really made you become more creative and learn
Mhm.
how to do things that you wouldn't have otherwise thought about, right? Like you said, selling
Yeah.
online, a ghost
Mhm.
kitchen. Yeah, I feel like these are very much things that people have started to think about as an outcome of necessity, right? Like you want to keep
Yeah.
the business going.
Mhm.
There is no way people are coming to your restaurant because of there's a pandemic outside.
Right.
How do I still make something that people used to love before accessible for
Mhm.
them, even when
Mhm.
there's chaos in the world?
Yeah. So it was like 2008 when we
Yeah.
started Onigiri. That was the time I had a same process. So I was really enjoying the process again. Oh, this was the time we started. Let's do same thing. And our concept got stronger. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
I can't even imagine what it's like to run a business in the food industry just
Mhm.
because so many of my peers and friends and people in the network are mostly running software companies.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much what SF and the Bay Area is mostly
Mhm.
known for. So
Mhm.
it's very refreshing to hear the challenges that you would face when you were running, let's say, a
Mhm.
non tech company
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah.
Koji, I'm curious to hear what's next for Onigilly and
Uh,
what are you most proud of in the last 17 years? 17 years.
Yeah, I think from the day one I came up the idea, well, vision is to become nationwide concept, right? Like McDonald's was single small burger shop and now it's everywhere. So that's idea why we started because I'm from tech and my first job was startup. So I always think about how to scale. And then because I couldn't find onigiri and at the same time I saw potential in onigiri. In Japan, huge market. So in the US could be the same, not exactly like Japan because of the cultural difference. But I thought people's gonna love it because it's handy. American people love handiness. And we believed we can add options, burgers and pizzas and onigiri bagel. However, you have to think about different way if you want to scale the business. You can open one single great onigiri shop in San Francisco. Maybe you can open second one, third one, but that's it. If you want to keep it small, if you want to keep the quality, probably you cannot see more than two or three. But our goal was to become nationwide like McDonald's. So we needed to develop a system, includes supply chain and IT, how to take orders, how to make it consistently as a brand. We need a brand and we need messages to the customers. We have to follow food safety. I can cook rice pretty well every time, but we have to train people, and the people in our company have to cook rice perfectly, make ingredients, make dishes consistently. So that has been the last 17, 18 years. That was the process. We developed a system. It's like a software development I used to do. You start beta version and then try it out and get a feedback and then make a, correction. And then after build some portion, you add some additional portion, and then your software will be. So I did the similar process. First, I needed to develop the right product that American people like it. Before we couldn't sell well, so I changed the ratio, I changed the recipes, I tried 100 flavors, and then once we got a good, oh, this is it. After 5 years, I found this is the onigiri American people like. And then what's next? So we talk to distributors and we talk to, multiple landlords and then expanded to 5 locations. And we tested, great flavors and people like it. At the same time, can our co-packers make the same quality of food? So because we used to cook teriyaki chicken by ourselves in our restaurant, but our concept, I learned a lot from Subway. So Subway owner, you don't have to cook beef, cook meat, right? Manufacturer, co-packers process the chicken and the beef so the store operator can defrost or, they receive fresh and put in, sandwiches. You don't have to cook meat from scratch. So we needed the same process. So we worked with co-packers and distributors to, ship our food nationwide. And we have to keep the minimum volume to make the co-packers requirement. So that was the challenge. You not only focus on the food, but also you have to focus on the system. And then now we have the system and distribution network. And then now we can offer franchising to franchisee. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in the franchisee business, I think easier it is to repeat the systems,
Mhm,
the faster you will probably scale, right? Like it's not like
mhm,
you mentioned that rice needs to be cooked a certain way and it has
mhm,
to be cooked perfectly. And if I go from one store to the other, it shouldn't be significantly different. Like you still want to be
mhm.
able to retain the taste and the quality
Yeah.
of these things. And so yeah, I think
Mhm,
your comment about creating repeatable systems is very, very apt here and similar
mhm,
to software development in general, right? You want to be able to repeat and scale it fast in general. That's awesome. Koji, I feel like you've learned so much from the last 17 years of running this business, building it,
mhm,
growing it, scaling it. If there's an immigrant who's listening to this episode right now and who is
mhm,
watching this and they want to start a company in the food or restaurant space,
mhm.
what would be your one advice for them?
I think you have a lot of support from NPO or anyone. So try to use as much as possible because it's very, if you are immigrant, especially starting a business is not easy. I went through a lot of difficulties, language barriers, and local regulations, but you can find the support. And there are a lot of organizations, NPO, and people you can ask. So even cities, San Francisco, we gotta support a lot. And they have a dedicated specialist to support you. So even you're immigrant or not, you get a tons of support. And you can go to La Cocina or other organization and you can talk to NPO lenders and, small business offices. So you get a lot of support so you can use it and maximize. the potential.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I only recently heard about La Cocina, and then
Mhm,
you've been a graduate of that incubator, so that's really
mhm,
nice that you've had that first-hand experience going through La Cocina, building something that's successful today.
mhm,
Koji, we're almost at the end of our chat. I'm so happy that you agreed to do this. I end every episode with this one question for everyone. It's called Letter to Day One, which is
mhm,
basically a chance for our guests to share a word of wisdom
mhm,
to a version of themselves that just landed in America. So let's say it's
mhm,
2006, you just came here from Japan. If you could share one thing to your younger immigrant self on
mhm.
your first day in the US, what would it say?
I think never give up. It sounds, very common, but I think I could quit, right? What I wanted to become. So when 2006, I had a lot of ideas and visions. And when we started Onigiri, I had a lot of vision and dream, but I could quit. I could, go back to Japan. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm tired because, I cannot speak English. I cannot understand the culture. I cannot sell onigiri because of the cultural difference. Onigiri is popular in Japan, but American people don't like it. That's all. I'm quit. I'm gonna go to Japan and start something else. That could happen, right? Especially if you face real challenges. When you start, you get a lot of excitement and you are very happy for the future. At some point, you faced real challenges even when I started. At the same time, I had a couple of people who started the business, but pretty much everyone decided to quit, decided to
Hmm.
close businesses, but I didn't. So that's why now I'm here and little by little, I'm stepping up to the where I really want to become from the 2006, right? But
Hmm.
if I gave up, Onigiri not doesn't exist, and our customer cannot eat onigiri. So I think, yeah, that's the last message I can think of. Never give up.
That is beautiful. And that is a great way to round this out. Thank you so much. I think what you said about not giving up is very, very true. Like there will be hardships in the future. I'm sure you've overcome a lot of hardships,
Mhm,
and one thing that's kept you going is you just have to keep going and keep showing up every day, and things will work out in the end.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Koji. Thank you so much for taking the time. I am so excited for everyone to hear your story, and hopefully we can empower more people to go check out Onigili
Yeah,
and Financial
great.
District and other locations as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Hashita.